Okay, so in a show that has been about creating tension and constantly raising stakes, what is this? We went from this big climactic peak of tensions between Vi and Jinx, this horrible, heart-wrenching fight, where somebody might go home in a box, to this.
Last chance to surrender! Go right ahead, fat hands!
And you're really left wondering how you get from here to here. It's really underwhelming. And it is so weird to say that about any arcane scene, especially an arcane fight scene. I initially had a negative knee-jerk reaction to this, but this is arcane we're talking about. They've earned our faith at this point. So instead of looking at what the scene could have been, it's worth taking a moment to look at what the scene actually is, and what the scene actually does. And honestly, the more I looked at it, the more I realized that it does a lot. This scene is loaded. And honestly, it reshaped the way I view the entire season, the way I view the entire show. I went from being slightly disappointed about all of the inexplicably evaporating tension and all of the unraveling of progress characters made in the first season, to understanding that de-escalation can be just as beautiful and nuanced as escalation. But anyway, this scene. Weirdly, the easiest way to understand this scene is to start from the middle with the actual fight, and then work outwards from that. Honestly, if you get past your normal expectations for a Vi Jinx fight, this thing is hilarious. This is the first arcane fight that honestly doesn't feel fighty. It is tiny and petty and kind of pathetic. And honestly, this is the first moment in the entire series where these two having it out actually feels like a realistic sibling conflict. This feels like your sister ate your road trip snack and also won't stop breathing your air. And really, every detail of this fight screams this. It starts with a slap, then there is hair pulling, then a tackle, but there's this moment that really starts the fight that I want to focus on for a second.
You wouldn't last 1 second without all your ugly gadgets and chicken shit tricks. Ha! What about those over-designed bitch mittens you didn't even build yourself?
Guys, this is the heart of the scene. Maybe the heart of this act, and actually maybe the heart of this entire season. But in order to understand this mechanic, we have to look at this other scene that serves as a fantastically isolated example of it. The bug fight.
Handlers, release your beasts!
It's a big clash of titans, there are major theatrics, there's battle animation with silhouette flash frames, there's thunderous impact effects, the classic arcane slow-mo face punch, spit everywhere. Do bugs have spit? And then they zoom out, and it's pathetic. This scene houses the same shift that happened between this Janna fight and this Bedrock fight. And fun side detail, the frame just before the zoom out looks like this. Yeah.
Coincidence? I think not!
But basically, here's the mechanic. You're presented with something framed larger than life. It's legendary, it's epic. And then they pull the camera back and reduce the participants in the conflict down into what they really are. And this moment right here is the first step towards this fight being a reduction, and not something epic and tragic. Jinx and Vi are stripping down for this squabbly fight, letting go of their signature Vi and Jinxy fighting styles. There's Jinx with no Jinxy theatrics, and Vi with no mittens. There's also Vi with no Kate, and Jinx with no Silco. Neither with a cause or a context, neither with a role to play, neither with the emotional needs and goals they had last season. Jinx no longer needs unconditional acceptance from Vi. She's got Isha. And Vi is no longer trying to get Powder back. And the fight is absolutely hollow without those things to drive a real conflict. And if you zoom out to the rest of the season, you see the same phenomena happening with a majority of the main characters. All of them are being stripped of the context that led them to conflict in the first place. We see Ambessa being stripped of her family, we see Heimerdinger stripped of his place on the council, we see Jace stripped of his scientific discovery, we see Vander stripped of his humanity, we see Savika stripped of Silco, we see Echo being stripped of his tree, we see Mel being stripped of her role as a diplomat. It's kind of hard to diplome when there's no people. We see Kate stripped of her mother, and this is reflected in the intro. All of the characters are literally stripped. Stripped of their normal clothes and colors, stripped of their normal hair thingies, stripped of their weapons, stripped of their tattoos. They're just in white underclothes. It feels very bare. The first season's intro also supports this in a weird way. Or at least supports the comparison between seasons. Season 1 was about understanding how these people became legends. They're all carved from stone. Their development feels inevitable, tragic, monumental. They are supposed to feel larger than life, intimidating, significant. But then this season is about reducing these statuesque, legendary, larger-than-life stories back into people. There are lots and lots of reduction scenes this season. There's Jinx and Savika. The context, again, of Silco is gone. There's no dad to compete for affections from, no agenda of his to further. They are both grappling with the same chaotically disappointing Undercity, grappling with the same loss of purpose. This feels right. And we don't even need a big climactic dramatic moment for these two to connect. Just this moment where they are both sad, tired people. There's no release of tension because the tension just doesn't make sense anymore. And the same thing happens with Heimerdinger and Jace.
We were attempting to sneak in. Oh, pish-posh like you've never done it. Were you sleeping here?
You drink tea, Echo?
The last time these two saw each other, Jace was voting Heimerdinger off the council. The council that Heimerdinger founded in the city that he built over a technology that destroyed his previous city.
Jace, this is a violation of the ethos. I will have it destroyed one way or another.
Time and again, you've warned us what not to do. But let me ask you this. What's your plan to fix this? I believe it's time we gave the beloved founder of our city a well-deserved retirement.
Jace, don't do this.
And these two just work together like nothing happened. We view Heimerdinger as being hilarious for expecting a big climactic heist. Like, we think he's ridiculous to think this would be an issue.
Don't you essentially own this place?
Shh. Come on.
But it should be an issue. But instead, all we get is just scientists figuring out a problem. There are no apologies, there's no climactic release of tension, no ego-crushing moments, no agendas. They have bigger things to worry about. And again, they're just people. And the scene feels right, just like Jinx and Savika. So, why have this reunion between Vi and Jinx be a reduction scene? What does that do for the characters? And I'm gonna be honest, this scene does push Jinx's development, but she's already been a walking reduction this season. Jinx doesn't really understand why she still exists anymore. She feels like her story should have ended. And she does try to end her story in a climactic way that fits her perspective of herself.
Congratulations on your victory. Well, you're past your prime, champ. The only thing to do
Enter
is...
Isha, and enter Jinx's hero arc. Jinx has been reduced all the way down into her bedrockiest self. And then with a push from Isha in the right direction, she gets to redefine what Jinx is, what Jinx means. And this step is where we find her at this scene. She's in the middle of rebuilding, and not only that, she's aware that her identity is in flux, and she's embraced it.
Wake up, sis. I'm a hero.
Jinx is shockingly self-aware. She recognizes each stage of her development, and that's why, when she sees Vi brawling and drinking and generally getting flushed down a self-destructive spiral, she knows exactly what is going on in Vi's brain. The story that Vi built for herself doesn't fit anymore. Vi is a protector with nothing to protect. The life she spent devoting to that role feels wasted and destructive. She doesn't know what to do next or how to move forward. She doesn't feel like Vi anymore, and she is not even sure what Vi is. Jinx sees all this from her comfy view in her own rebuilding stage, and realizes that while she doesn't need Vi anymore, because Isha gives her enough unconditional love for 1,000 Jinxes, Vi does need her. She needs the chance to redefine herself, to move on from her bedrock stage, to evolve. And now that Jinx is a hero, she's equipped to give that to Vi. Vi's arc, oh my god guys, Vi's arc is genuinely radical in this scene. Before the fight, she's about where we left her at the Janna battle. She had just finally determined that Powder was dead, and now Jinx needs to die for the good of the universe. And that was a really hard conclusion for her to come to. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Literally. And now Jinx is suddenly well-adjusted and not giving her serial killer vibes? Where did the monster go? Vi is trying really hard to get back to the narrative where her sister is gone because it makes more sense. So she tries to provoke Jinx into becoming more Jinx-ish.
When are you gonna admit that this is just another one of your fantasies? Or do you not want the kid to know how delusional you are? Well, at least they never had to see the psycho their daughter turned into.
And then Jinx literally gives her a wake-up slap. And then they have a very irritable sister punch fest. Which, again, does not fit Vi's mental image of Jinx. And then Vi, who is not yet evolved, does a classic Vi thing and smacks a powder somewhat accidentally. And you can see it on her face. Like, how does this keep happening? The horror of reliving her biggest regret. And then Isha is picked up by Jinx, given some Jinx loves, and shakes it off. It's so easy. There's no forgiveness because it's not even needed here. Isha still has all her insides. And you can just see Vi's brain breaking at the anguish of how easy it is for Jinx and Isha to move on from this. Nothing makes sense to her anymore. Vi is not a protector, and she's not helpful or useful.
Why'd you come get me? You don't actually need my help. You haven't for a long time.
And then Jinx offers Vi a chance to redefine herself.
Maybe this is like a do-over.
Jinx is not trying to get back the exact bond that Vi and her had. She is looking for a genuine partnership. She's offering Vi partial responsibility for what happened to Vander, and she's offering Vi partial redemption. Jinx knows that Vi is just as stuck as she was. She's giving Vi the chance to drop the gauntlets and look down at the bloody handprint, acknowledge it, and move past it. And then in the next scene, when faced with a monstrous Vander who is trying to kill people she's trying to protect, we see the true extent of Vi's progression. She finally does what she couldn't do for Jinx in the first season. She stops fighting, drops her gauntlets, sees the legendary monster for what they really are, a broken family member, and embraces them. Well, thanks so much for watching. I know it's been a hot minute since I posted anything. The dumb thing is, I've had this video recorded since last November. Sometimes a healthy fear of the public kicks you in the proverbial nuts. But now, I have a massive pack of white monsters, some pristine unearned confidence, and a piece of paper framed on my wall that says I am licensed to do words now. So, prepare. I've got some scripts in the vault I'll be launching at your faces over the next month or so. If you like this video, please like. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. And if you really like this video, please subscribe. Because subscribing is good for my soul.